Thank you, Peter and Helga, for the presentation, which explores the new definitions of platforms and how these platforms are affecting our life now. So now we'll move on to the panel discussion section for today's event. Our first panelist is a familiar face, Donald Choi, our chief curator of the Hong Kong Collateral event at this year's Architecture Biennale and the president of Hong Kong Institute of Architects. He has been working globally as an architect and developer for over 30 years and is familiar with both public and private projects. Currently, he is the chief executive officer of Chinacam Group. Previously, he served as managing director of Lanfeng Group, director of Foster and Partners, and authorized person for Hong Kong International Airport Passenger Terminal, and a host of other infrastructure projects at Chek Lap Kok Airport. Our second panelist that we are honored to have her join us on site today is Alice Yeung. Ms. Alice Yeung joined the Hong Kong government as an architect in 1992. Since then, her career has been associated with development of public buildings and urban planning of Hong Kong. She started her first posting in HSD, Architectural Services Department, designing and delivering public facilities, including the Chek Lap Kok Airport Control Tower, government facilities in Chek Lap Kok Terminal Building, and Police Headquarters Building. Ms. Yeung then posted to Development Bureau working on government policy. Through different posting, she gained a wide range of experience from design, project management, and advisory service. She also has been working closely with Hong Kong Institute of Architects for many years as the steering committee chair for Hong Kong Shenzhen Biennale and Hong Kong Venice Biennale to promote Hong Kong architecture outside Hong Kong. She is a strong believer in collaboration with industry stakeholders and driving value through creativity and innovation. So may we invite Donald and Alice on stage. Yeah, and on screen we have our Macau team and also Rupali from India. So I will address all of you with your first names. Is it okay? Thank you. Yep. So Donald, would you please share with us your reflections on today's keynote speeches, please?
Yes, thank you. Again, I think the first keynote, living beyond the boundaries, Macau and the Greater Bay Area, is really relevant, especially for us in Hong Kong. I think the connectivity as the cement of tying the areas together, Macau, Hong Kong, and Greater Bay Area, is the future for us as well as for Macau. And from the density, intensity, and diversity that have been mentioned, with the megastructural approach, it really is a diversity in function, and and it is alternative and option as proposed and suggested that could protect the historical urban center. I think it's something that we can learn in Hong Kong as well. And we do have that, I think, opportunity with the northern metropolis development now in the northern part of Hong Kong. And, we will create another CBD without actually disturbing very much our historical urban center. So again, I think the topic explored by the Macau team is really relevant to this region, and I must congratulate them for innovative solution that they have been offering, and the especially warm kind of reminder of us of our heritage. They mentioned the Sweetwater, Po Jiang, and definitely Hong Kong have different kind of similar historical references that we can make use of. Reported from India with his imagined redistribution, land, people, environment, almost match our also exploration in our Venice Biennale as well. It is very important for us to remember, we need to have a new framework of looking at the problem. I think graphic, in maps or statistics, yes, they have been used in our urban redevelopment and regeneration, but it is not sufficient. We must actually look at, as reporter has suggested, the transactional capacities. It is really the relationship that is very important. In a lot of our redevelopment projects, regeneration, we actually have redeveloped in a way that encourage or facilitate gentrification in our urban area. And this is definitely not a preferred way of going ahead with regeneration of our urban center. And we need new tools for future urban mobility, the trajectories of the various capacity, economic, structural, and so on. So again, I think, Republic has very much shown us, with a reframing it, a new way of looking at old problem, we will have better solutions. And, the platform urbanism, I definitely has been looking at how technology has impacted our understanding of urbanism, our cities, and with the 5G advancement, obviously we really have real-time interaction nowadays possible. Again, I think the exploration, comparing the old fortifications, town boundary with now the new platform, also have actually regulation of assets, almost like a boundary that we need to break down. This is important. It doesn't matter is it a physical or virtual world. I think we cannot operate in silo, and we need to actually be engaged with all the other participants as well. So it is not as simple as just breaking things fast. And actually, I think there's one suggestion that we should actually move slow and fix things. So I think with technology, actually, it also gives us opportunity to reveal our understanding of our existing conditions, of the human side of what we are all about. The collapse of scale, the Instagrammable architecture. I didn't quite get that until, the example of Hudson Yard has been shown. And also, you mentioned the monument of circulation and all that come together. We are entering really a new world. And, the blurring of the boundary of the physical and the virtual, the metaverse, will be with us. And, it is time for us also, to look at how our physical world would be enhanced and also may disrupt our understanding of the physical world. So again, I think, they are very provocative questions being asked. And I think this is exactly what the Venice Biennale asking all the professionals in the built environment around the world to ask ourselves, how should we live together? How will we live in the future? So I think, it is really fascinating to learn so many new ideas this morning.
Thank you very much, Donald. So Alice, how about you? What do you want to share with us?
Okay. Actually, I think for the Macau team, they are talking about part of the Greater Bay Area and water as a very important feature or something that Macau has to treasure. In fact, Hong Kong and Macau is very similar. When I look out from the window now, I can see our harbor, our water. Now, actually, working with Greater Bay also is our task now in Hong Kong with the Northern Metropolis Development Strategy, which is a spatial concept, strategic mindset going beyond the administrative boundary of Hong Kong and Shenzhen. Now, I can see plenty of opportunities in connecting the Greater Bay Area. We're talking about twin cities and free circle. Twin cities is Hong Kong and Shenzhen, and the free circle is from west to east, Shenzhen Bay Area, development of Hong Kong and Shenzhen close interactions circle. So I can see there is opportunity of Hong Kong and Macau also working together in this bigger Greater Bay Area as well. So for Ripali, I really enjoy her presentation, in particular, very down to the earth. All the tricks and the kicks, how people live with it, which linking to her her topic of future and mobility. And I can see actually we are doing that as well with the North Lantau development. We don't just look at how to build a new city, new city or new town. We're looking at the heritage there, like the Gao Yizhao facing the new North Lantau area. Social mobility, yes. We hope through all these new development, we can create jobs and also improve the built environment of this new area as well. Now, for Peter's presentation on platform urbanism, this is a very interesting topic as well. Innovation, how we use technology, data to help us to plan our future. So this is pretty much my thoughts.
Thank you very much, Donald and Alice. So now I have a questions for all the keynote speakers and also our panelists. Is that relating to the title of the symposium, Redistribution, Land, People and Environment. Does your city have any issues on housing, land, population, etc., and how people or the government are tackling this? So maybe I invite Macau team to answer this question first.
Okay, hello everybody. I enjoy very much the presentation from India and Austria as well, and the comments of Donald Choi and Alice Young. So the solution of the territory, it was always a big problem in Macau. Macau lay on the land reclamation to start their its own civic center along 450 years in the peninsula, then moved to the island of Taipan and Koloan, and 25 years ago, at the latest years of Portuguese administration, it was built what is today called Kotai, Koloan and Taipa, Loban, Tomjai, and now it's called Kotai. It was designated for a satellite city for 200,000 people in those times, but it was converted into the gaming industry strip. Then we have other problems of a very big superpopulation. Because we are only 700,000 inhabitants, but our physical space is so tiny. Officially, we have right now 35 square kilometers, but as a matter of fact, the new land reclamation that is in progress are included in this 35 square kilometer, which is very, very small to house 700,000 people. So finally, master plan has been discussed broadly by the locals and the governmental team and the consultant. And it was announced very recently in our parliament in Macau by the Secretary of Public Works and Transportation that there will be a decision of our chief executive until the end of December, which we are very happy because master plan in Macau, the last attempt was in 1987 during the Portuguese time, but the pressure, mainly from the financial sector, were so strong that it was not possible to be implemented. But finally, there were several attempts already in the Macau SAR time. And as I was saying, finally, we have a master plan for Macau, which is something good because, as the old saying praise, everything begins at home. And if we don't have our own spaces, our physical territory, through its function and so on, to be short, how can we move forward to integrate the Greater Bay Area? Therefore, both friends of Hong Kong, when they refer that our future is the Greater Bay Area, it is indeed, and especially for Macau, not only to avoid the monolithic industry, we are having very good profit from the gaming industry, generically called entertainment. Of course, there are mines and so on, the tourism of conventions, the heritage and so on, the gastronomy. But we, the gaming industry is too strong, monolithic. We have to diversify. Therefore, the Great Bay Area will be something fantastic. And even in the human point of view, it is very important because a lot of local people, both Macau and Hong Kong, came from this Greater Bay Area long time ago, some earlier. Okay, Kathleen, thank you for your advice.
Thank you very much.
Just to finish, give me one more minute. So, this is not a political slogan loading. We have to build our collective future through the Great Bay Area. Besides technology and so on, this mega polis as Rand Coolers and his students and fellow researcher with universities in Europe, United States, and in mainland China has studied, and in a certain extent even forecasting this huge metropolis, which is going up to around 280 kilometers north of the Pearl River. Thank you.
You very much, Carlos Alberto. Rupali, would you be possible to answer these tricky questions in just a few minutes? Thank you.
Yes. I think I've touched upon a lot of that already. I think what is important to understand is that there are divergent ways in which the government is operating. There is a kind of global imagination of where we need to go to. So Mumbai wants to become Shanghai. But in the long run, I think, just like I showed in the presentation, it's the transactional capacities that are reducing in cities. So I think just to kind of maybe sum up, it's important to understand places culturally. Okay. And even if you look at, in terms of economy itself, we do not have the advantage of finance or commerce sort of, competing with the world. But the cultural economy is something which can be in some ways intensified and given attention to. And we have to understand that is linked to urban form, to cultural spaces, to the way people kind of have their own sort of, people's own sort of expertise lies in that. Now, it's important to not kind of look at this idea of a universal global future, but to understand what you have yourself. And I think that's something that we've been pushing, in our own discussions. And just to kind of sum up one more thing, in terms of, because housing is something that forms the bulk of a lot of our development around us. Often what we do is, when we don't see things culturally, we conflate the house and the home. The home is much more. The neighborhood is home, the city is home, and it's not only the private property of the house. And I think that's what we land up doing in terms of thinking of things economically alone. You tend to kind of, give incentives to developers, and you start getting this kind of mega city around you which has no soul. So I think it's important, and just to maybe just sum up, it's really kind of important to look at your future, look at your environment around you culturally. So thanks.
Thanks, Rupali. I do have a second question for all of you. So to zoom out a bit from your own perspective, what's the most imminent issue faced by all the people in the world? Rupali, would you mind answering this question first?
Yes, yes. I think it's the same, globally as well. For me, I think we are the perspectives of the way we are globally thinking of the future are also coming from certain, common indicators. And I think the danger is the whole world is going to look alike very soon. And we've seen a lot of these in platform urbanism, other kind of examples of in some ways warning us to slow down, you know. So I think it's important to kind of look at, and this is not something that I would be only bringing for Mumbai, but I want to speak to the whole world through this, that it's important for us to think culturally, think of kind of transactional capacities and relationships, because that's what will make your cities human. So thanks.
Thanks. So how about you? Carlos Alberto and your teams, what do you think is the most imminent issue faced by all the people in the world now?
You want to answer? Okay, this is so broad a question, but I think in these times of our life, through pandemic and also so many revolution operated by a digital world, robotics, and so on, we have to focus in our conscience and in our ethics to provide happiness and livable cities to the world. Environmental issues are something devastating nowadays. The Austrian approach was so amazing in terms of technology that we face every day. India presentation was great, saying, and I quote Rupali, being nicely messy. I think being nicely messy in terms of human is also something important, and the acquaintance that today the migration problems all around the world, you see what is the Middle East, Europe, and around the world. This raise problems that 20 years ago, 25 years ago, the world didn't face. So all architecture, town planning, urban space, graphic, all sorts of urban arts and so-called urban art. I think especially livable places, we have all to give our hands and propose a social conscious way to see all of this, respecting the different of each culture, each technique, and to build a happier world, at least attempt to make this world a brotherhood, as John Lennon sang through his beautiful song, Imagine. This is not very only idealistic. I think we have to find this way, but coexisting with all the possibilities, good possibilities that the highest techniques and globalization is given to us.
Thank you very much. So, Alice, what do you think about these big questions, the most imminent issue we face now?
I think I right on to what Carlos said, actually, with the pandemic and with what happened around the world these days. My only wish is that from now on, when we build, we have to build with heart. We have to be sensible from environmental point of view and also from human point of view. So this is my vision.
How about you, Donald?
Well, I think architects need to be responsible and accountable for their actions. Obviously, we are responsible to our client, but we are also responsible to the community that we work in. And looking at a lot of urban development around the world, I think a lot of architects actually has failed their responsibility. We have created our own zoo where we cannot get out. So I hope in future we could really look at, first of all, on the sustainability to ensure that we live a livable world for our next generations and the many generations to come. But also when we design, we should have the user in mind so that we can improve their quality of life with architecture.
Thank you very much, Alice and Donald. So now we are approaching the end of the symposium. Firstly, I would like to thank you, our keynote speakers, for joining us today. Thank you, thank you. And sharing their thoughts. Also, a big thanks to our audience on site, viewing online. We will be posting this section on YouTube, so please stay tuned. To mark the end of the symposium, I would like to invite Donald, our chief curator of the Hong Kong Collateral events, to come up and say a few words. So Donald, maybe Alice, we can leave the stage. We'll leave Donald alone on the stage. Thank you, Donald.
So again, good afternoon, all the participants, keynote speakers. I think on behalf of Hong Kong IA Institute of Architects, as well as the curatorial team of the Hong Kong Collateral events of the 17th Venice Biennale International Architecture Exhibition, it is my great honor and pleasure to thank all of you, especially the keynote speakers and panelists and participants of the symposium. I have learned a lot this morning, and I believe that we truly had a fruitful sharing ideas at this special occasion. By means of this symposium, we on the curatorial team encourage actually cross-border and cross-disciplinary dialogue in order to promote creativity as well as advance the understanding, appreciation, and interest in architectural and design excellence. I remember during the opening ceremony of the Hong Kong Response exhibition, I described our journey of serving as curators as being a bit like running in a marathon. In fact, running such a long distance requires strong support at different critical junctures. Without the professional support from the teams of the Hong Kong IA and its Biennale Foundation, Hong Kong Arts Development Council, Create Hong Kong, as well as the steering committee, exhibitors, planning department, city gallery, where we are holding the exhibitions, we alone, the curatorial team, could not have overcome all of these unexpected challenges and ultimately cross the finish line. It is exactly the way that we collaborate and work together harmoniously that allow us to succeed. The symposium is coming to an end, and while the Hong Kong Response exhibition will has 5 more days remaining, I would like to ask everyone, if they have not visited the exhibition yet, please come and visit it. I think it is an excellent showcase filled with many, many creative exhibits related to the redistribution of our most critical resources, land, people, and environment. This exhibit will not only provide solid solutions and innovative ideas, but will also inspire our thinking about the overall livability of Hong Kong and around the world. So again, my thanks to everyone, and I especially would like to thank Ka-Sing for hosting this symposium this morning. Thank you.
Welcome. Okay, thanks very much, Donald, for the last words. And so this marks the end of today's symposium, and we will see each other in 2 years. Bye-bye. Thank you.